5 reasons no nation can beat the Marines in a war. The U.S. Marine Corps prides itself on being America's 911 force, a fire brigade that the President can call upon to fight the nation's battles in an emergency. Though the Marines have largely been treated as a de facto second land army over the past dozen years, the service is an integral component of the Department of the Navy, which is primarily a maritime force. Therefore, the Marines, as a specialized amphibious force, argue that they need unique hardware to conduct their unique missions. While the service has many different types of weapons, here's a selection of their 5 key systems. Before I continue the video, for those of you who haven't subscribed, first click on the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on the bell button so you don't miss further important information from this channel. Click on like and also share to your social media so that your friends know what you know. Number 1. Marine Rifleman. While not a weapons system in the traditional sense of the word, the Marine Corps warrior ethos and superb training make the service what it is. Every single Marine, from the lowest private to the Commandant himself, is trained first and foremost as an infantryman. Even the Marines' naval aviators undergo 9 months of infantry training as part of officer candidate school and the basic school before they go off to flight school. The shared experience of fighting alongside Marines on the ground gives the service a level of cohesion that the other branches lack. Ultimately, it's the Marine Corps' people that make it arguably the most effective branch of the armed forces. With the United States theoretically ending combat operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, the service will shrink to a total strength of 182,000 Marines by 2017. But even at that reduced manning level, it will be nearly as large as the entire active British military. Number 2. M1A1 Abrams. The M1A1 Abrams main battle tank was developed by General Dynamics. It's a further development of the M1 Abrams. The M1A1 was revealed in 1985 with production commencing the same year. It entered service with the U.S. Army in 1986. Production ended in 1992 and approximately 4,800 M1A1 Abrams tanks were built. Currently, the U.S. Army operates nearly 4,400 of these tanks, and the U.S. Marine Corps just over 400. It's planned that the fleet of refurbished and upgraded M1A1 tanks will remain with the U.S. military until at least 2021. The M1A1 has an improved armor protection compared with its predecessor. Front turret and hull armor of the M1A1 features advanced composite armor reinforced with depleted uranium mesh for better protection. Like in previous version, ammunition is stored in the turret bustle with blowout panels for better survivability and crew protection. Interior is lined with Kevlar for protection against spalling. Some tanks, most notably of the U.S. Marine Corps, are fitted with a missile countermeasure device. This device can detect and jam guidance systems of laser-guided missiles. While the Marine Corps prides itself on being a strategically mobile medium-weight force, there are times when it needs the brute force of heavy armor. That brute force is provided by the General Dynamics M1A1 Abrams. While not quite as advanced as the U.S. Army's M1A2 SEP V2, the Marines' M1A1 Firepower Enhancement Package suits the Marines' purposes of supporting the service's infantry. The Abrams is armed with a 120mm cannon and is protected with an armor matrix that incorporates depleted uranium armor. With a 1,500 horsepower Honeywell gas turbine engine, it can move at more than 45 miles per hour. The Marines are not a heavy mechanized force in the mold of the Army's Heavy Brigade combat teams. The entire Marine force has only 3 tank battalions, and the service has just shy of 400 tanks in total, most of which are stored in pre-positioned stocks. Number 3. AH-1Z Viper. The Bell AH-1Z Viper is the latest iteration of the Vietnam-era Cobra attack helicopter. While outwardly the AH-1Z looks like its predecessors, it's basically a completely new machine. The AH-1Z is powered by a pair of 1,800 horsepower General Electric T700 turboshaft engines that's coupled with a new 4-bladed composite rotor system that gives the helicopter exceptional agility. It carries a suite of advanced sensors, including a Lockheed Martin target sight system, and can carry the Longbow radar system. Like the Army's AH-64E Apache, it can carry 16 Hellfire missiles, but also adds an air-to-air punch with its ability to fire AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles. The AH-1Z also shares many common parts with the Marines' Bell UH-1Y Venom version of the UH-1 Huey, which helps with the service logistics. However, on the downside, the Viper and Venom are unique platforms with the Defense Department and have not been built in huge numbers like the Army's Apache or UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters. That means the Marines have a more difficult time keeping their machines up to date with the latest advances, and it costs more. Number 4. Boeing AV-8B Harrier II. The AV-8B Harrier jump jet affords the Marines' expeditionary units their own organic fixed-wing air support. For the Marines who can't always afford ready access to heavy artillery, aircraft act as a mobile fire support. While the Harrier is not the best fighter or strike aircraft, until the Lockheed Martin F-35B Joint Strike Fighter becomes operational, it's the only short takeoff vertical landing aircraft that can operate from amphibious assault ships. The subsonic attack aircraft, though perhaps a compromise in many respects, is essential to the Marines' unique concept of operations. The Harrier will be replaced in favor of the Joint Strike Fighter over the coming years. The service hopes to retire the venerable jet by 2025, reversing an earlier plan to keep the AV-8B in service past 2030. Instead, the Marines will keep their Boeing FA-18 A, B, C, and D aircraft until the F-35B replaces those jets also. Number 5. Light Armored Vehicle LAV. As a highly mobile, medium-weight force, the Marines don't want to be weighed down by heavy armored vehicles. However, some mechanized forces are necessary. For the Marines, many of those needs are met by versions of the General Dynamics Light Armored Vehicle Series, LAV. A Marine Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion includes many variants of the LAV, including the LAV-25, LAV-AT, LAV-L, LAV-M, LAV-Rs, and LAV-C2s, which all have their individual functions, ranging from anti-tank and anti-air to command and control. Fast and agile, the most common LAV-25 is packed with a 25mm automatic cannon and a pair of 7.62mm machine guns. It can move at speeds exceeding 63 miles an hour. Well, that was 5 reasons no nation can beat the Marines in a war. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.